The following podcast is a mass media production.
Hey, this is Chad Namiro.
And I'm Kelley Namiro. Welcome to the Balancing Chaos podcast,
A lifestyle podcast where we will interview guests about wellness, business, and just about everything in between.
Our goal is to help you develop a lifestyle that promotes health, wholeness, and success. Through our conversations, we hope to inspire you to live a beautiful, full, and joyful life as you navigate balancing the chaos.
We hope you enjoy. Hey everyone, welcome to the Balancing Chaos podcast. We are super excited about our guest today. He's a dear friend of ours, one we've known for many years. His name is Tal Cooperman. His current role is the executive creative director for Stations Casinos. He's a fellow podcaster, which his podcast is called Bad News, BADNWZ. But honestly, aside from that, he's extremely well known in the LA streetwear and art scene. He is involved in myriad of different entrepreneurial projects and just kind of is in a lot of different things is how I describe him.
He's a relationship man. He really is. He has built so many relationships over the years, and which is one of the things that we talk about with him in today's show, and the importance of that because of how it can help you in your entrepreneurial experience later on down the road. He's involved with brands like Truff and RESQWATER, things that are huge right now. And we get into talking about social media and how to build a brand and the importance of using social media to your advantage and why followers aren't that important because that's not necessarily where the revenue is. So we have so much great information in today's show. You're going to learn a lot from him, from, like I said, things about social media to different artists and how he really, helped to create the vision for the casino in Vegas, the Palms, all of the different projects he's a part of. So I cannot wait for you guys to get into this and listen to our episode with Tal. Are you looking for a trusted resource for luxury Las Vegas real estate? The Ivan Share Group is the expert in the luxury Las Vegas real estate market, specializing in high-end homes and luxury high-rise properties. And trust me on this one, Chad and I can attest. They are so amazing. We've been working with them for the last few months on trying to find a new home, and they're showing us the most incredible properties. The Ivan Share Group is a dynamic team of leading real estate experts dedicated to client satisfaction. Their extensive expertise in Las Vegas and Henderson allows them to help luxury homebuyers find their dream home, no matter what their needs are. And like I said before, we are super, super specific on what we need, like a playroom for the kids and a home gym and things that not all homes have. And they are really good at showing us exactly what we want to see. They're dedicated to helping you buy, sell, or invest. So contact Ivan and his team today at 702-315-0223 or visit isluxury.com to learn more and learn what they do differently. The Ivan Share Group is luxury, your trusted resource for Las Vegas real estate.
All right, everyone. Welcome to Balancing Chaos. My name is Chad. This is my wife, Kelley, your host.
Hi, how are you guys?
Today, we have a super special guest. He's a dear friend of ours, Tal Cooperman. Welcome to the show.
Thanks. What's up, guys? I'm so excited for this. I'm actually excited for you guys to do this. This is bad.
Thank you so much for being here, Tal. We're so excited to talk to you. I think that honestly, you have so much value to offer through all of the different life experiences you have. I was gonna tag in the story I was posting today, social media expert, but there's so much more than that. So
hats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A million hats. So I think that the best way to start is to tell our listeners where you grew up, how you your life path, how you got started doing what you're doing and all of the different awesome ventures you've kind of been a part of, and then where you're at now and how you ended up
there. Yeah, for sure.
Man. Well,
it's a story.
Yeah, here we go. No, I'll keep it somewhat short. All
right.
I was born in Israel. My family moved out to America in 1988, I believe, 88, 89. We moved to New York first. Didn't work out. My dad figured out real quick that there was nothing for him to do out there. And then I think within like less than a month, we moved to LA. We moved to the Valley in the beginning. And right away, my dad was already back to like his old ways, which was just always pretending like we had a lot more than we had. So I went to private school right away, and it was a Jewish private school. And that's where I learned English. I knew no English whatsoever. I moved to a country. My parents just one day were like, we're leaving, you know. It was more of like we ran away, you know. And we moved to the Valley, and I went to a school called Adat Ariel in the Valley, private again. I was only able to be there for like a year and a half. I did like second and a little bit of third grade, and then went to a public school right away. And I went to Dixie Canyon Elementary School. And it's funny, I still have some friends that I went to school over there. I think, do you follow this kid, Dom Hair? Kelley does like a lot of people's hairs. Like I've
heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah. So him and I have known each other since third grade, and we're still like super close friends. It's pretty odd. We were the handball kings. You know,
So
I love that. Miss me some handball.
I love that, like the fact that you moved around so much as a kid and you still have made like so many close friends. It's like, that's a lot.
Yeah, for sure. The Valley was cool. And then my parents started making some money a little bit, you know, and we moved to Agora Hills, California. And that's kind of like, that was home base, still kind of is. Went to middle school there, high school, lived there, you know, a little bit of my 20s as well. I wasn't always really close with my parents. Had a big fallout with my mom. And you know, my dad had to leave this country. He got deported, and that kind of was like a huge hit for me, because he kind of blinded my brothers and I with money that we never really knew what life was all about. You know, when I was like, I want to go work, he's like, why would you need a job? I just give you money. And it's like, you know, I was just so like, he always had like an answer for everything, you know, but we're daddy's boys, you know, and I never really cared about what he did. I didn't really understand what he was doing, you know. And you know, life was a little tough after he left. But
how old were you?
When he got deported, I was 22.
Okay, and he's still in Israel?
Yeah,
okay.
He won't be able to come back. He always talks like he like thinks I'm like 22 still. So he's like, you know, like I'm working on it right now. I got these lawyers. I'm like, you do not have anything, but I love you for
trying.
Yeah, for trying and like trying to tell my brothers and I, like, you know. But I feel like he's what got me my hustle. You know, like just like always out there. But Agora was good. I met a lot of people. I got into, you know, the art world, graffiti world, streetwear world. And that's kind of like how my life started. Agora Hills, Agora High. This kid took me down to, you know, to downtown LA, to this factory that everyone used to try to go to for this brand called Gypsies and Thieves. And that was like one of the earliest days of streetwear. That was like one of the first LA based brands. And it was like, it was real. If you like could get in the warehouse and you could buy some clothes there, it was like when G Unit launched, right? Like everyone wanted it, but you were like afraid to wear it. Cause if you
that was hot.
That was hot. Right. So it's like, I hate comparing it cause it's so cheesy, but like, I know, like if you wore G Unit before like G Unit was G Unit to like the mass, it was like, cool, you know? So it's just like, I hate comparing it.
And so that's what's got you into like the fashion world. Like, so
I was 14 years old. I had my first internship there. I cooked with the owner. His name was Louis Polito. And I met a lot of people there that I'm still friends with till this day. Very like core friends, you know, whether it was like my graffiti world and or fashion people, you know. And I did everything there, never got paid. And I didn't care. Like, I didn't know anything about money, right? You're 14 years old. You're not really thinking of that. And also 14 years old, you're not really thinking of jobs. You're like thinking of like trying to go skateboard or like go to the theater, like the movie theaters, hang out with your friends. I was I was just grinding, not knowing what I was literally going to clothing trade shows at like 14 years old, setting up booths, literally not knowing what I was doing. But I knew it was something because it was so cool. I was seeing a world of like, you know, going to ASR or Magic, the trade show, and like seeing everyone there, literally everyone. And at the time when I grew up, that was like going to those trade shows was like really cool. It's not like how the world is now when everything's online. You have to like go and grind. And I'm glad I was a part of like the end of that era.
I think that the thing that you're the best at, like through all of the hats that you wear and all of the things that you've done, is building relationships.
Yeah,
totally.
Like it is insane the amount of people that you're connected to and that you know. And then I look back, like, you know, on you saying like, this is what you were doing when you were 14, and you like taking that and pulling that thread all the way through to what you're doing now. And to give our audience an example of that, like Tal made these amazing different pairs of Vans with Damien Hirst. And he like basically did this entire collaboration last year for the Palms. And so like, I'm sure that you used some of those connections that you made back in the day in order to make something like that happen, like with a brand like Vans and an awesome artist like Damien Hirst. So can you give our audience just a couple of tips? And I know that it really takes a specific type of person who's more outgoing and sociable and an extrovert, which you definitely are. But like, what would your biggest tips be on building relationships with people and making them last, and not making it look like when you reach out to someone, like you're just asking for a favor, because that's so freaking annoying.
100%. And Kelley, as you know, people hit you up daily for free rooms, or, you know, it's always something. And trust me, like
I be on podcasts, you know, that kind of thing.
I have 3,000 unread messages in my texts, and it's because I don't even open. If I see a name and I'm just like, I haven't talked to this fucking person in 6 months. And I know it's like, it starts with a, hey, what's up? And you respond, and it's like, oh, nothing. I'm going to be in Vegas this weekend. You think I can get a suite? It's like, no, you make money. Like, support me, you know? And, but yeah, I mean, look, growing up, like the relationships I made, I never knew I was going to use them. And you never think about using your friends or relationships. You just, you know, with me, I got lucky with, you know, having the crew of friends that I have, where we all bonded and we're like, we're just going to help each other you know, get to somewhere. Who knows what that is? Like, perfect example is my best friend, Aaron, and I. We've been best friends since we were 13 years old. We're literally still best friends. I was the best man at his wedding. He was the best man at my wedding. You know, it's like his parents raised me. I grew up in their house, but we have always like been side by side with each other. Whatever businesses he's doing, I'm always going to help him, whatever he needs, and whatever it is. And you know, my portfolio and his portfolio together, it's kind of like we're untouchable. We like, both of us together, we just know everyone, and we know that, you know, so it's been really cool. But my tip would be to just always just keep trying to grow no matter what, you know, like don't think of like a relationship as something you're going to use. Just know that the people that are in your life, you know, at some point they might be able to help you do something. And luckily the people I grew up with, they all grew into something in an industry that could always help. So it's almost like just like having no expectations and showing up for people to like give back to them and like to support their businesses or their needs, no matter what you think you might need down the road. And I think that's such a beautiful way to show up for a friendship always.
If you have a loving like relationship with someone and you respect each other, it's not a favor, it's what you do for the people you care about.
Another perfect example, Kelley and I wanted to open a Revolve store at Palms. She's like, we were eating breakfast and she's like, Tal, if we can get Revolve, that would be so cool. And I was like, I don't know. I'll find it. I'll figure it out.
Find a way.
You know, my friend Pavan at Tal Group, Tal always works with Revolve. I'm like, hey, can you introduce me? Next thing I know, Kelley and I have a call with these guys, and this guy, Gil, is Israeli. The next thing I know, we're joking around like, you might be my cousin. We find out that we are cousins. We literally are cousins. You know,
ancestry.
Oh man.
So it's just
too crazy.
you know, you never know.
Small world
for sure.
And I think that says, that's a big thing too, is that like reputation plays a really big factor into all of this. Yeah. So it's like, if somebody hears of you through someone else and they know that you are a good person, like doing a favor or coming out and supporting someone who has a good reputation it's a lot easier that way.
I always want to, my whole thing always, at least I want to think, is I just always want to help people out. Mm-hmm. I've always just like, how do I help people get what they want? Like I honestly have never cared about like the money aspect. To me, like if I fuck people over, I would have become a millionaire a long time ago. I'm more like, I just want to help. Because to me, the way I grew up and I worked for so many companies growing up that paid me $0. Mm-hmm. And the best part is those companies were giving me free clothes to give to bands like the plaques behind my back that, that at the time didn't have any money. Mm-hmm. These bands that I grew up with are some of the biggest bands in the world now, who I was just giving free clothes. And for me, that was money, because I was like, that relationship is going to go a lot farther. Growing up, I never knew that Linkin Park was going to sell 100 million records and be the biggest band in the world. And those guys took me on tour, and then they introduced me to bands, and then those bands introduced me to bands. And the next thing I know, I create more and more relationships, mm-hmm. While everyone was promoting clubs, I was trying to promote bands and making sure, my name was getting out there, like, yo, you want something with Reebok? Hit up this kid Tal, he'll get it for you. And that's just how I kept building and building.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
let's talk about Vegas.
How you got from where you were in LA.
How you got there, I think a lot of what you learned and a lot of the traits that you developed in LA, you brought to Vegas, obviously starting with Dre's. You mentioned Aaron. So, Agenda's in there as well for all the listeners. It's Aaron Levant who created Agenda and a number of other things. Yeah. So talk a little bit about that. And then I would love to get your take on, Vegas is going through a lot of change right now, and to see what that, next generation Vegas 2.0 looks like, club wise, restaurant wise, everything wise.
Because you kind of made this transition from, and you were still doing it at Palms a little bit, but apparel and all of that to nightlife and social media and how that all works for the hospitality industry.
Yeah, absolutely. So I moved out here because of my wife, Abby. I was living I was living at Aaron's parents' house because again, I grew up in that house, and it's an amazing compound, and I had my own little like wing, so it was really cool. But I ended up moving out into my own little apartment, and then Abby came into my life. And then, she was telling me how cheap it is almost to live in Vegas. I never really knew. Can have a really good life for not much. So I'm very, easygoing. I just need my laptop and, my phone. So I'm not like everyone who's like, I got to go to my corporate building and I got to do this. I'm just like, if I don't have this, I'm screwed. That's just the way I look at life. No phone, there's no life. I'm sure Kelley feels the same way. So
he does.
I moved out. I just packed up a U-Haul and drove out here. Abby found us a house that I still love till this day. We don't live there anymore, but and it was great. And it was really cool. At the same time, we were launching a brand called RESQWATER. Yeah. And I'm a part of that. And RESQWATER followed a lot of old school techniques and leads of how Red Bull started, and Red Bull kind of took off in Vegas. And a lot of our team in the beginning was from the original team of Red Bull. So they were like, hey, we got to break in Vegas. And at the time, like I was still somewhat of a club kid. So I was always going out. I mean, I still always go out, but it was just have a bottle in your hand, talk about it to everyone, make sure your friends that own clubs, that, they want it, tell them about the brand. And that was really easy. And my friends still to this day come out every weekend. So we just always go and get tables and whatnot and party. And so that was kind of like the real deal of moving out here. It was Abby and then RESQWATER, but it was mostly obviously Abby. And then I got bored real fast, you know, within a year, I was losing my mind out here. You know, it's just like not doing anything. And like, at least LA, you don't have to have anything going on, but there's just so much going on at all. Yeah. And I love that. And I miss that a lot about LA, which is why I try to go back at least once a month to just, I can go to LA on a Friday morning and like I'm slammed all day just visiting people. But to me, that is like the best thing ever because you're just filling your brain up with all your friends that are so influential, you know?
I think you get a lot of inspiration from that.
Yes. And you need that. You need that because I don't have many friends out here, you know? As much as I love everyone in this city, you know, I truthfully don't think I have many friends like I do in LA, at least feeling like the family feel, you know?
Yeah. So you always will think of that as home.
Yeah, you know,
Sounds
and
like, yeah.
So I got a call from someone I still look up as a mentor. His name is Brian Affronte. He's one of the owners of Dre's. Dre's was going through a weird transition of like, you know, they're a hip hop club, you know, and they were doing live shows. That's the way Victor Dre, who is definitely one of my mentors, you know, he was like, I don't care about the DJs. I don't want to overpay them. You know, everyone in the market is literally flooding the market. I'd rather just do shows and I'm going to stick to hip hop. And I love hip hop. So, you know, to me, I was like, that's fucking great, you know, because the EDM world, it gets a little boring. It's, you know, it to some people it sounds the same, you know, like the new hip hop sounds the same. Like every song sounds the same right now, you know? So Brian was like, hey, like, I know you love marketing and I need a new, you know, someone with a new way of looking at things, you know. I'd like to bring you on as, you know, creative director and head of marketing and we'll see where that goes. Met with Victor and I was there a week later, you know, and
And what year was this? Was this at like the height of the EDM scene when every Vegas club, so you know, 15, 16? Yeah.
I would say 15, maybe 14. Like like Marshmello was breaking, Calvin was already here, Guetta, I mean it was everyone, Afrojack, Avicii, like it was going.
So this is like more of a unique approach at that time.
Yeah, you know, and everyone was talking shit. Everyone, you know, my favorite thing about Victor is everyone forgets what he's done for this city, where he created Trist. He built it. That was his. Excess was his. Everything was his, you know, and he did all that with no DJs, you know, so he did that with 0 DJs. And he used to, I remember people would want to bring like an Afrojack in and Victor would be like, yeah, you can play where the DJs are. And like Victor used to hide the DJs in his club. You know, like it would be like Excess would just be like when you go down the stairs, it'd be to the left and you wouldn't even know the DJ was there because it was more of like you were walking into a beautiful club, you know, and that's what's like missing now in clubs, period. It's just like, you're like, well, who's playing? Yeah. It's not like, hey, Kelley and Chad are going out tonight to just have a good time. That doesn't really happen. It doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah. And I know that like when you after you were at Dre's, you came and worked at Palms and for stations. And now that COVID's hit, what do you like, is that ever going to be a thing again? Are we going to see? You know, that's funny, Kel. I was talking to some LA club owners and they still don't know what's going on. And those guys don't make anywhere near the kind of money that clubs in Vegas make. And I'm like, how are you even still paying rent in your building in LA? Yeah.
You've been open in a year. Yeah. Like some of those clubs are check to check. Yeah. You know? But it's scary. I mean, people say that we'll be back in May or June, but I don't know if people want that.
Yeah. Like, you know, millennials are quickly becoming the target demographic, right?
And that's like my brother, Tav, right, Chad? Like, that's just he's the kid that we still want in the hotels. And, you know, Tav makes probably over 200 grand a year. He's 25 years old. He's like who we want. He's like, why would I go to a club? I'm going to Mexico with like 10 people. I'm cool. I just want to do dinners.
Yeah, it's like people honestly want to have that more intimate experience now. It's like
Sure.
COVID has kind of pushed us all to be a little more antisocial. So
Yeah.
I'm really wondering if it ever will come back. But,
I hope festivals and everything come back, right? I mean, like,
yeah,
those are fun. Like, that's kind of like, I feel like festivals is like, if that doesn't come back, I'm gonna
lose it.
freak out.
That's what
I love music. I mean, we all love concerts, and
that's what I miss the most. That and restaurants.
And people still tell me that they don't know when shows are coming back. Like, you'll see people announce dates, but I think all those are, to be honest, I think those are fake. I think they're just going to keep getting pushed.
Yeah.
2022, 2023, until I guess we're all vaccinated.
Yeah.
Right.
So, like, what's the answer or what's your answer or your thoughts, I guess, on, the new Vegas, if you will? Because do you take the current club format and do you make it more like live performances that are more like a concert, or do you reshape what that experience is, or candidly?
I'll tell you what, I don't think anyone's figured that out yet, because there's still no shows. There's still, Vegas is not the same. I mean, Kelley's from here, so it's, she her family knows. Obviously I work for her dad and her uncle, but like, it's like, we went down, the last time I went to the Strip was 6 months ago, and it was fucking scary. Right when I walked into Caesars, there was a brawl in the lobby.
Yeah.
Abby and I were going to Nobu, and I just watched two girls just scrapping, and I'm like, the rates keep going down. It's going to bring in the crowd that, Vegas was not built for.
Yeah. So for those of you guys who are new to like listening to Chad and I guess that this little bit of backstory might be helpful. So I did used to work for my family's business. That's actually how I met Tal, where I held a corporate job as a marketing director. And my family owns casinos here in Vegas, and some of them are actually still shut down because of COVID. But a lot of what Tal is doing is working on social media and marketing in general in an effort to, inspire people to come back and have a hospitality experience. And I think that, I don't work there anymore, but a lot of what I hear is that you guys are doing things to create more intimate type of experiences for the local Las Vegas guest, and those things like, I think that they're at Red Rock. That's one of the local hotels here that is open, that you guys are doing like things at the nightclub Cherry and making like, like I said, more intimate experiences, and how are you promoting those through social media, and what does that really look like right now?
Yeah. So
you do want to go out.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think people do miss going out. I just don't think I think they don't miss the crowdedness of craziness. Right. So we've been able to, because right now Vegas is at 25%. Let's call it, we're back at 50% at the end of next month, which will be March. Right. We hope, because all the city is bleeding, like 25%. That's like, guys, that's like no one, you can't have anyone there.
Can't cover the cost, really.
Right, yeah. So we've been able to, we had at one of our properties called Red Rock, like Kelley said, we used to have an old place called Cherry, and then I think it changed to Crimson. It was just sitting there, and I think Kelley's sister Victoria and a few other people were like, "Hey, like we should create something in here. It's just sitting there." So we have a really cool hallway inside. The way to get into this place is like a cool little tunnel. And I think when we were coming up with the first idea, our buddy Cord, who's also my boss, he was like, "We should do let's call it a year-round Christmas bar." That's how the original idea. And I was like, I'm fucking for it. Are you kidding me? Lights.
Who doesn't like Christmas?
Sounds like your jam.
Yeah, and I'm like, we all were like, I think we all right away knew the vision of the tunnel had to be like thousands of lights, and we were like, the way Alex and I, my partner, the way we think is like, we got to create moments for people to come, right? Like moments that people will take their phones out right away, and take photos. And side note, that's what Kelley and I did at Palms. You know, like when people come here, they got to take out their phones right away. And when Kelley and I created the lobby, the front desk at Palms, we were like, we got to do a wish you were here, because it'll take you, a girl's going to take her phone out right away and either send it to her mom, her dad, her boyfriend, her girlfriend, whatever. And that's kind of what we did, you know,
side piece.
Like, and that's the way it works now, is people taking out their phones. Like, you can't even, before clubs closed, let's call it 4 months before nightclubs closed. I remember I went to LA with Abby, and we were looking around, and kids, my brother and his crew, they all have their phones out. They're not even like talking.
They're not paying attention.
They're not talking.
Yeah.
They're literally just filming, just like having the best time. I'm like, what? What's this like?
Yeah. It's almost like thinking, like when you're in the hospitality industry, it's almost like thinking about how can I incorporate moments for people to capture in this experience?
Yeah.
Because that's what's going to sell
100%.
more people to come and experience your experience.
It's free marketing too.
Yeah.
Right?
Free marketing. Exactly.
And that's the best part. You know, when I got moved up to corporate, you know, I was asked to like help, you know, like want you to take over social media for our entire company for when Alex and I came in, because we came in, it was just, there was handcuffs on everyone, you know? So luckily with Cord and your sister, like we all worked together to like take those handcuffs off and be like, hey, I know a lot of you don't understand social media.
Yeah.
You don't want to, we get it. You hate it. It doesn't make sense to you. You're scared of it.
To be fair, so many brands, whether it's like, you know, a JW Marriott or whatever, like hospitality brands, they have zero personality. And that's why people don't feel connected to them. And I think that it's such a beautiful thing to have younger people, you know, working in an industry and it like you are, because it brings life and it brings connection with younger people to a brand.
And that's what we want, right? Like I always hear your dad, like, how do we get that new generation to come and, you know, play at the hotel or stay at our hotels? It's like, hey, like the new kids, all they know is their phones. Like it's social media, whether anyone likes it or not. Right. And like your uncle is very good at understanding that because, you know, because of the past, you got like, they just understand, they know. That's why I love working for your family, because they get it. Where if I went down to the strip and try to explain to people what it is, like, now just do one post a week of like
our room
or our offer. Or it's like, no. That's not what you want. Right. Like I remember when I first came in and took over even Red Rock, people were calling me like, what are you doing? I'm like, I don't answer to you. I was like, and this is the new direction. And you have zero say because you're very fossil minded, you know, and it shouldn't be like that. But now it's really cool because I feel like social media for the company has done so well in the last, let's call it 6 months, that everyone is like either started an account, is all about looking at it. Even people that in the beginning would tell me, I don't do social media, they have accounts now. And they're like, did you see this thing this morning? And it's like, you can't get away from it. And it's going to get way worse. Social media is just, you know, as we know, is just going to get much, much bigger. You know, even the company Chad works for, like a lot of it is based off of social media, you know, and it's awesome.
Oh yeah. That's like what I spend most of my time with, explaining social media and these different marketing and sales channels to legacy brands who just aren't used to accessing their customers like that and aren't used to selling like that.
They want print and billboards when you're like that.
It's not what,
it's like mobile a few years ago. That was kind of like not a nice to have, but it wasn't as important as desktop. And now social is like a primary channel, if not the primary, obviously for brands.
I saw Gary Vee posted like a timeline of like, let's call it internet, then social and all this stuff. And it stood out to me because he's so right. You know, like he was just saying people were saying that internet was going to be dead in like a couple years, you know, like then social media was going to die. And it's just like, are you kidding me? Like the best part about, let's call it just Instagram, is you can create, it's your own little blog. You're just looking through you create what you want to follow. Like you can create your own little world of what it is.
You know, So what do you think when it comes, whether it's for a brand or like, let's even say like a person like me, where, you know, I have my own personal brand, or there are people who want to become their own content creators. I think you're really the expert in brands and like hospitality or clothing, but what is the right strategy? Like, how often does someone needs to post? Is consistency what's really important? Is the
Absolutely.
content what's really important? Are they both really important?
There you go. Kelley just answered her own question. Yeah, of course. Like, I think, look, like, look, I'm still one of the people that cares too much, right? Like, I should just post all day. Like, it doesn't matter what I post. As long as you keep posting, people will come back. I have some friends that they used to be the ones that would talk the most shit about social media, and now they're my favorite people to follow because they're just like, they don't care. You know, they're not like, they just post. Like, it's not too thought out. If they see like a brick wall that's buffed in a different color, they're like, that's great. Next thing I know, there's like 11,000 likes on it. And I'm like, what? Just how did that happen? You know, it's like, you're in your head of like, what did you do? He's like, I don't know. I just posted this picture. And I think people overthink it, you know? But I think there's just also a lot of different kind of people. Like, my brother, you know, he manages some of the biggest gamers in the world. They're part of FaZe Clan or whatever. And like, I'll watch Banks and Temper like post maybe once a week, maybe, you know, but like, that's what kids want. If they post it too much, that's too much. Yeah. You know, and then you have like an artist like Revoke, who he's got like 300,000 followers, but he'll post all day long and people want that. So it's like,
you have to know what you
got to know who your audience is, right? And I think that's key. With me, every time I post, I'll get like a lot of likes, but I'll also lose like 200 followers. So
it's so funny that you say that, like, and because I'm going to be totally honest and transparent with my audience, because that's a lot of who's listening right now. Like, I lost a ton of followers in this last, like, literally calendar year, but I made more money than I've ever made before. Yeah. So it's not necessarily, and I'm sure that might be, you know, the case in the past with Red Rock. It's like, it's not just about followers. It's also about the content that you're delivering to the people who care about it. And the revenue that drives, because like I said, it's not yet, you know,
it's just ultra saturated. Yeah. So you have to figure out who your base is, you know, and then you have to appeal to them and honestly develop connections. And that's
don't get discouraged, right? Like, some people are like, fuck, I only have 1,000 followers. And, you know, you know, for everyone that's going to be listening, like, someone that's one of my favorite people to follow is Bobby Hundreds. Yeah. He's one of my best friends. He's to me, he's like God, right? Like, he just always has an answer for everyone. And he'll always say, like, shame on you for not caring about the 500 people that are like your core people, you know. It's like 500, care about those 500 people.
Those
like,
are the people
they're listening to you. And to be honest, that's like, to start a new page would probably be good for me, someone like me, just of like, hey, like, however many followers I have, like, I don't even know what's real. I don't know what's bots, what's not. Yes. You know, like, I'm like, let's call it, if today Instagram did like a sweep on all bots, I probably would drop like 60,000 followers. I wouldn't doubt it, you know, like, I'm just like, in my head, I'm like, I don't get it. And as you know, Kel, there's like girls out there with 500,000, 1 million followers, but somehow you or I, with our following, get more likes and views than they do. And you're like, how the fuck did this happen? Yeah, no, it's crazy. Did they lose their engagement? Do they not know who their follower is? You know,
or like, are they buying followers? Like, I watched that 100%. Documentary. What's it called? Fake Famous. And it's such a true testament to what that world is. So I think that what you said is so important for people to know, that if you're trying to start something, whether you're a brand and you're offering a product or a service, or you're a person and you're writing a blog, that don't get discouraged by the number, right? Because it's so inconsequential. It really doesn't matter as long as you're talking to that core group of people who is really there for you and the content that you're delivering, because so many people are buying followers and buying bots. And I mean, I know there's a girl that I follow in particular. She's got like over 200,000 followers. And I look at it, her engagement, and, you know, should I be comparing myself? No, but I look at her engagement. She's got like 4 comments on a post, and and I'm like, that there's no way that your followers are real in that case.
They're not. And that's the thing. It's just like, just know, like, you're not going to feel good about yourself if that's what you're going for.
Right.
If you just like, I have 200,000 followers, you're pretty, if you're buying those followers, you're talking to yourself. Like, create an audience.
You
like,
don't want that.
Yeah.
If you have 500 followers, those 500 followers want to hear what you have to say. You should be so proud. They will help you get to 1,000, and then be proud of that 1,000, and then just keep growing. But just keep posting. You know, it'll hit. It'll eventually hit. So if that's what you want, stay on trend. Yeah. You know, that's what you got to do.
You heard it, influencers. Love who you got.
Quickly pausing this episode of the show to let you know that my private one-on-one coaching container is now open. Over the course of 2021, I'm only going to be working with a small, select group of women to help them return to feeling like they're at home in their bodies, to help them lose resistant weight, to feel less anxious and more energized. My one-on-one coaching is truly for you if you're tired of feeling depleted, overwhelmed, bloated, or like you're just not enough. There's no magic pill or cleanse or detox that's going to work. You are really ready to make that commitment to yourself and create the habits that will lead you to hormonal balance and vibrant health. I'm here to help you get to the root cause and create meaningful change. If you're feeling called to work with me so that you can finally feel at home in your body, head to the link in the show notes to learn more.
So yeah, I mean, for those who don't know, which is probably a lot of people given the pandemic, the Palms just went through a massive renovation, just shy of $1 billion. It is, without question, one of the most unique and different hotels in Vegas at the moment. So I want to hear, what your vision was for that. You're the creative director. That is still partially your role, I believe. And yeah, just talk about that. Obviously, it was a very different thing before the reopening.
Yeah. So short story. I was about to sign with Hakkasan Group, and I was going to be their creative director, or director of marketing. I don't know. It's a little different than like hotels. But I was really excited. And then I went to a mutual friend's house for Shabbat dinner, where I met Patrick Lewis, and he was telling me that the Fertitta family just bought the Palms. Side note, I used to pretty much live at the Palms when George Maloof was the owner of it. And I used to party there all the time. And it was the coolest fucking place on earth for me. It was literally Disneyland for adults. It was cool because there was no social media really. I think there was MySpace and maybe Twitter. So you couldn't really, and the phones weren't great yet. So you couldn't ever talk about what was.
If you knew, you knew.
At the Palms. If you knew, then you knew. It was kind of like the Hard Rock days. If you knew, you knew.
Shout out to Rehab.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. He told me about it, and he's like, hey, we're going to put some money into it, and it's going to be really cool. We have a list of people that we're going for, and I got really excited, and like my hamster wheel started going. I'm like, fuck, I don't want to work for Hakkasan Group. I gotta go work for Frank and Lorenzo Fertitta, and a few people ended up getting hired with the company. I don't like to ever talk about them, so I won't. And one of my best friends till this day, John Gray, he was a part of the project as well. And I met John when he worked for George Maloof, and when he was running that property back then. So he was in the running, as well, to get hired and be brought on to be the head of the project. And it was just like stars were finally aligning. Like that's the way, like I never understood people when they said that, but I could I just started feeling it. So I ended up skipping on Hakkasan Group. Days before my signing with them, I ended up meeting with Rich Haskins, God rest his soul. I met with him and a few other people, and I ended up coming on, to be the head of marketing for the club that we were opening.
Yeah.
That was coming years from now, which was great. Unfortunately, the people I was working with, I was butting heads. And when I say work, like, it wasn't like Frank or Lorenzo. It was other people that were
Involved in the club.
And they were the ones kind of like, it was their vision for a second. And it wasn't clicking with me. Fast forward a few months of me wanting to kill myself and crying every night. Chad's wife, Kelley, over here, saved my life. And I would literally cry to Kelley of like, you have to get me out of this fucking thing. I want nothing to do with this project. And, Kelley started taking me under her wing, which was fucking awesome. And she brought me into a lot of meetings and, took me, we had another ad agency helping us at the time. And she would take me to meetings in San Diego and stuff like that. And it was cool because I always try to give Kelley as much credit as possible.
Thank you.
If it wasn't for fucking Kelley, I think things would have went a lot different for me with this company. I don't even know if I'd still be here, honestly.
Yes, you would.
Well, like I said, she pulled me out, and I got involved, with Frank and Lorenzo finally, and I got involved as far as like
in a more direct way.
Yeah, just like, hey, Tal, about art? We want to get art, and then I found out that Kelley and her dad and her uncle, like, they all love art so much that I was like, I started learning more about blue chip art, and then I was teaching everyone about street art, and it just flowed. And I'm like, finally, oh my God, this is amazing, right? Then like designing the restaurants, and Kelley and I would sit with Albie, our head architect, of like just creating moments in this hotel. We were like, we have 800 rooms. We have to create stuff for people to take out their phones. We don't have the 3,000 to 5,000 rooms that every property on the strip is always full because they have so many rooms. We never had that. That's the one thing about Palms. It always felt like a boutique hotel, even though that's on a mass scale. Like you go to like south of France, a big hotel has maybe 60 to 150 rooms. This is like 800 rooms.
Yeah.
It's a relatively small casino floor, and you can kind of see,
everything.
And that's the cool part about it, is like when you did curate that whole art collection, because the place is so small, not so small, but cozy, it felt like an art gallery. Like
you're never going to walk into Bellagio and the valet guy's going to know, hey, that's Kelley Namero, she's the owner of the hotel. No one, like, they don't know that, but you walk into Palms, the guy's going to know what kind of hamburger Kelley's going to want from In-N-Out. Like they just know. And that's a beautiful thing. It's the one thing of like, even at our properties like Green Valley Ranch or Palace or Red Rock, like our teams are so good at knowing everyone, which is, you just feel like you're at home always. And that's what keeps people coming back, is making someone feel like a big shot when they're not,
It's true hospitality.
So
true hospitality.
Like, just for the listeners, talk about some of the art at the Palms so people can know, get excited. Right.
Yeah. It rains.
Even though they can't see it right now.
Yeah, to get excited. Wishful thinking.
Our heartbeat of the property, was designed by Damien Hirst. It's our center bar called The Unknown. Those of you that's been living under a rock for the last God knows how many years, Damien Hirst is one of the biggest living artists on this planet. He designed the bar with Frank and Lorenzo. It's amazing. Our steakhouse has paintings from artists like Jason Revoke and Jean-Michel Basquiat to Andy Warhol and Damien Hirst and Carlos Crash. It's we designed a bathroom that looked like a pie, like a cake. It's we literally looked for.
You can lick the urinals. It tastes good.
Even like the front valet, like when you walk in, there's this whole moment that says Palms in, like, it looks like balloons, and like you guys couldn't imagine how many, like, at the when the Palms was open before COVID hit, girls would line up to take a photo in front. So when I think the main point to hit home on is like when you are designing a space, it's almost like we talked about before, like having this forethought of like, how can you make it a moment for someone to capture on their phone, because that's really like what this world has come to, right?
And I will say, I mean, you know, and I think a lot of people have copied what we've done.
Totally.
You know, and while we were doing palms, a lot of people were talking shit, you know, and I don't know how to take that very well. I'm usually ready to just go to that person's house and just be like, hey, we're going to just take care of business really quick. But what made me feel good is knowing people copied us after. While everyone was talking shit about us going the art direction, everyone started having like an installation of some sort in Bellagio, or, you know, Steve Wynn always had art, but all of a sudden they got like street art. And I'm like, it's the
highest form of flattery.
You know? Most geniuses, almost all, were told that they were crazy as they were developing their craft, and then everyone appreciates it later.
Right.
I mean, it's the truth.
But
it's definitely the highest form of flattery.
Yes,
for sure.
For sure.
Okay. I want to ask about some projects that you're involved in on the side, because
one that fills our
one of them that is in your household at all times.
I just got the mayo. I don't know if she was getting.
I saw she got the mayo. I sent her the spread.
You'll have some dairy.
Oh yeah.
Mayo. Okay, you listeners, you heard that.
So Tal is, you know, great at what he does in terms of social media and marketing, and in the hospitality world, but he has these projects that he does on the side. And one of the most amazing ones to me is Truff, which is it started out as hot sauce, and now it is all of these incredibly delicious. If you like truffles, let me tell you, truffle based like pasta sauce, and now mayo. So tell us about your involvement with that. And I think that so many people know what it is now because it's in grocery stores.
I mean, it's
valuation.
No, like not to just like.
Not to
honestly, I get so excited still, right? I mean, we're the #1 selling hot sauce and pasta sauce on Amazon, literally.
So impressive.
We're Shopify, by the way.
#1 in Whole Foods, #1 in Erewhon, Kelly's favorite market. It is going very, very good. I think we're in many stores. I don't know if I'm allowed to talk about how many we're in, but we're in thousands. You know, and our online business is amazing.
What do you run on, just to clear things up?
Shopify. My best friend Aaron and I and his mom were trying to create a hot sauce brand. Aaron and I are obsessed with hot sauce. We put it on pretty much anything and everything. He is way more obsessed than I am because he just loves spicy food. But he was in a meeting one day, I think it was in Nobu, with our good friend John Buscemi, who is an amazing soul. And he was like, I'm going to start a hot sauce brand. And Aaron's like, Tal and I want to start a hot sauce brand. He's like, I got this kid, you know, through marriage that I'm friends with, or cousins, or I don't know what they are. His name's Nick, and his best friend Nick, they have this thing with truffle infused hot sauce. And Aaron's like, tell me more. He's like, not only that, they own the Instagram handle Sauce.
Oh,
yeah, that's a good one.
And right there, Aaron was like, what? You know, next thing I know, we're testing out flavors of, you know, Truff hot sauce. But it was me and Aaron trying to start something, him meeting Nick and Nick. I was already friends with John Buscemi, and then
it's all about the connections.
Yeah, there are connections, but that's how it started, really.
Well, it's amazing hot sauce, and I love truffles, but I'd say you don't necessarily even need to.
It's just like flavor almost, like you put on veggies. It's
not. Yeah, it's more of like, again, it's more of a sauce than it is a hot sauce.
Yeah,
you can put it on literally everything, and I swear to you, it will taste great.
It's
the thing too that I noticed immediately is branding is everything these days. You know that more than anyone. It's a beautiful, I would say, artistic bottle. It's very
and
different.
Every package too. Like every package has like
the
a
branding
little
is
gold
on point.
spread. Like it's all like
we're all from like streetwear brands, right?
Yeah.
So like streetwear is all about making yourself look like you're a lot bigger than you really are. Think about the head of Louis Vuitton as a streetwear kid. You know what I mean? Like Virgil is a straight streetwear kid. And, you know, look at what he's done for Louis Vuitton, you know? And so it's like, that's the way we all look. It's all about packaging, and you know, our fucking our expensive bottles look like perfume bottles.
Yeah,
you know,
they do.
It's like,
And
You gotta
it's
get the
all
Magnum Truff going.
I think
you gotta
that,
get that SKU.
honestly, we could package up this episode in terms of like marketing and branding and social media, and like it's all about like whatever it is, whether you're trying to market a nightclub or something like that to someone, or market yourself, or market some hot sauce. It's all about how you make someone feel.
right.
How are you making that person feel? And if you can like bring that idea, and I think that's what you're so good at, Tal. If you can bring that idea like into the work that you do, it makes it so much more powerful.
Listen, I got people like your uncle telling me that they're seeing Truff everywhere, and that's Kelley's uncle is like God to me. So like when he's telling me that, I'm always like, you saw it, you know, like, but it's like, now it's Truff is like a real thing. It's not like, you know, it was never a joke, but it's like, now we're like, fuck, we're like, it's so big that we're
it's a
like,
hot sauce that makes you feel like luxurious.
I mean, redefine the category, in my opinion.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Because
every hot sauce was kind of the same, but you had your preference. This is a designer luxury hot sauce.
This goes back to us. Look, people were making fun of us at first, but like, and because of social media, and now we're the leading hot sauce on social media.
Yeah.
There you go.
And you see everyone posting about it.
Yeah.
And people land on our page because we own sauce, whether they like it or not. So like they're finding out about, we lose a lot of followers, but gain 1,000, you know, 1,000-fold, because they're like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, they want to know.
And thanks to Aunt Oprah for, you know, just 2 years in a row telling us that that's
her favorite things.
That won't hurt you.
It's a pretty good one.
Yeah.
www.truff.com. Don't order from Amazon. Go direct.
All right. So we have some questions that we ask every guest.
Yeah.
And they're just like our quick fire wrap up questions. So I'll start and then we'll kind of switch off asking. So first thing that comes to mind. So what is your morning routine?
I wake up at 4:30 in the morning every morning.
It's true. I know this to be true.
And Kelley's one of those people that's awake too. I'll sometimes text her because I know she's the only one awake.
See you at 8.
Yeah. I wake up at 4:30. I take out my dog Merlin, and then I'll go back into bed for like 10 minutes, and then I'm pretty much up, and I'll either go for a run, or lately I've just been doing Peloton because I've had COVID for the last 3 weeks. Are
you still not COVID free?
No, I tested positive again last Sunday. Your uncle called me like, hey, are you ever coming back? I was like, I can't.
Oh my gosh, that is.
So Cord was like, hey, like, I guess like the CDC says like after 10 days you can go back, but I still had some symptoms, you know, after 10 days. So I was like, look, funny
safe than sorry.
You don't want that.
The reason I don't want to go back is because the person that fucking figured out that I had COVID was Kelley's sister.
Was my sister. It's true.
And she fucking melted down right in front of me, and I was like, I'm never going back in that building until I'm fucking negative.
COVID free.
You got to keep it clean.
Oh man. Okay, so you go for a run, maybe.
Yep.
And then what?
And then I'll you know come back. I'll get ready for the day, which is by then it's like 6:34, 7. And then I'll start doing some emails. I'll usually talk to my brothers because they're awake as well. And then I go to work.
What's for breakfast?
I don't eat breakfast.
You're an intermittent faster like Chad.
Yeah, I don't do it on purpose. I just like breakfast. If I eat breakfast, I won't eat lunch, and I love lunch.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know,
I'll sell it like it's deliberate, but I just get busy and forget. That's the truth.
Yeah.
And so wait, let me ask you one question because I like to get into like this wellnessy stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Like when you're, you know, before you go on your run, and before you like, you know, like you start getting ready for the day, is your phone a part of the situation, or do you have time away from it?
When I'm on my run, my phone's on silent.
Okay, that's good. I love it.
Because I'm not lying to you guys. A lot of people ask me for a lot of things, and my phone starts going at 6 a.m.
Yeah,
right.
And
so you need a little time to.
My run is my therapy, you know. And even now that I'm doing Peloton, my phone's on silent.
Space to yourself.
Yeah, I just need 30 to 45 minutes of just like nothing.
I think that's really important too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It's healthy too, I would think.
I think it's very healthy.
It is. I think if you can get yourself that hour or so realistically, as busy as we all are,
Yeah,
that really matters.
definitely.
So, what's the best thing you've eaten this week? You're coming off COVID. I don't know.
I got my taste and smell back within like 5 days.
Okay, that's good.
I don't know if it's all back.
Yeah.
There's some.
So maybe what's the best looking meal?
I had sushi earlier this week, and it fucking was awesome.
From where?
All three of us.
Son of Japan.
A little local spot that Kelley, Chad, and I love.
It's really good.
Yep.
All right, Tal, you know me, I'm pretty woo-woo. If you were a color, what color would you be?
Baby blue.
I like that. UCLA colors. I don't know how much I like that.
Yeah. That's so good.
What is on your nightstand? Do you keep your phone there?
I don't have a nightstand.
Don't have a nightstand?
No. Abby does, but I don't.
How do you ingest like the majority of your information, right? Your education, your knowledge. Is it podcasts? Is it through your phone in general? Do you read? I guess
podcasts. Yeah. And some of my friends.
Yeah.
I do.
What's your favorite podcast? Don't say this one.
No, this is my fucking favorite of all time.
Yours? Tell people what your podcast is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's called Bad News.
Okay.
BADNWZ, and I do it with my friend Matt, who is someone he works for me at our corporate building, but he's someone I look up to. He's just so ahead of everyone. I would say Call Her Daddy is something I like because it's so fucking gut-wrenching of how that girl speaks, on it. I just find it funny, so I'll always put it on. Gary V's got one. There's a few art guys that have some stuff. Bobby Hundreds had one. I've honestly listened to his, I think he had 12 guests. I've probably listened to all of them about 3 or 4 times.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, last question.
Yep.
You are very busy, as are all of us, but I think you might be the most busy. So give our listeners your best tip for balancing the chaos.
Oh, man. I'm like Kelley already knows I'm like the worst person to ask. I'm like so dramatic and always so like, I don't know. Honestly, I can barely balance, my chaos. I honestly don't have an answer. Oh man. I don't know. I don't know how to balance. Like, I'm not like, I'll tell you what I was telling Chad earlier. COVID like messed me up pretty. I don't know how to be home, you know, being at work and working with your dad and like your uncle. And because I say them because I look up to them the most because I didn't get to go to college. I didn't want to go to to like a public college or like some, I wanted to go somewhere big and I wanted to go to art school and stuff like that. And my parents couldn't afford that. So the way I look at my last 4.5 years is I've spent pretty much every day with your dad and your uncle, and I get to go to school with 2 very smart people. And I think the last 3 weeks have been the hardest for me. Like I was telling Chad, is I don't know how to be home. Yeah. Right. Like for me, my main focus is always in that building, and I'm, not being with the team. And I've been with Alex every day for 4 years. Like not being with everyone, it's kind of been like a tornado for me. And I'm I think come Monday, like I'll be back to like the focus is back, right? Like back to meetings. Like I guess I missed that, and that is like my real balance. That's my yin and yang. Like I've lost my mind the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
To how I am.
Human connection.
Well, it's like moving forward, continuing on, and then, I mean, candidly, being around the people you love and respect. That's kind of what I got from that.
My wife's she's the rock,
Right.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you, Tal.
Thank you, man. Glad you feel better.
Thank you, guys.
We appreciate you so much. We love you.
Guys. Love you guys.
Wonderful night.
See you, buddy.
You too.
Bye. Bye.
Bye. Hey, thanks for listening.
Please make sure you rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. You can also connect with us on social media at Wellness by Kelley. Drop us a DM for who you want to hear from.